Still be on the beat.
E-Money, faster music. Your maga, I want to be your maga, your lover. Baby, please give it. Oh, I'm going crazy. Oh, let me be your maga, your maga. I want to be your maga, your lover. Tell me what you want. Oh, 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 hey. I just wanna know your need. Cause the way you touch the body, I like the way you do the body. Make me want to the gummy body, gummy body. Okay. Oh yeah, Limpopo. Baby, let me go Limpopo. Oh yeah, Limpopo. Baby, let me go Limpopo. Cause you know Limpopo, so make me go Limpopo. Oh yeah, tonight. Oh tonight.
I'm a photographer. I'd like to call myself an artist. I enjoy telling stories with imagery, basically. So I'm more like a storyteller. Well, I was born in Imo State, just after the war. And we're in Imo State, and that's where I come from. I started as a painter. And I enjoyed immensely the whole process of creating artworks. I fell in love with photography, apart from the speed of it. It had this magical property of freezing time. Every photograph becomes a kind of self-portrait of the guy that is shooting. It tells you what his interests are, where his emphasis are. You start to see how the photographer thinks when you look at his photos, because he's making choices, you see. Each time you point your camera in one direction, you have refused to point it in other directions. And there must be a reason for you to point it in that direction. And that tells a little bit about who you are. Yeah. Oh yes, they do. Law in itself is such an important piece, thing. In society, we all have to live by some kind of rules, otherwise we'll be in a kind of anarchy. So at the end of the day, there are rules for everything. Even for just being creative is not enough. You need to be able to sustain that creativity. You need to be able to pay your bills with that creativity. And once you can do that, then you're freer, actually. Yeah. No, I wasn't making any money at all when I started, and I wasn't looking at money at all. I was looking to enjoy myself and express myself. And you see, you need to put in 10,000 hours, into a craft before you can really master it. And at the early stages of your practice, you must understand how it works, and that is what will distinguish you from your colleagues, and that will make you what they call tried and tested, because you have understood how it works and you are now in a position to make a good first impression. If you're looking at money right from the beginning, you would lose, because then you haven't mastered your craft. You're already trying to sell it, and it annoys. I think a lot of hard work, really. Hard work in itself brings experience. And how do I put it? They say practice makes perfect. I already spoke about hours you need to put in. So if you have the passion, then it will drive you to put in the hours. And when you're putting in the hours because you enjoy what you're doing, then it's no longer work. Exactly. You understand? So it makes it easier for you to put in the hours. And for me, I say, There is no such thing as a lazy but successful artist. You need to put in the time. You may have talent, yes, but that talent is just like a piece of rock. It is only when you polish it and shape it that it becomes a priceless diamond.
Very good.
Well, it's difficult for me to define my style. I try very hard to learn new things so that I don't have a particular style. You know, people say, oh, your work has to be recognizable, but I'm always interested in what story I want to tell and how I can tell it best. That is what defines the style at that time. I also have a feeling that you keep repeating some successful technique that you have mastered, then you engage in self-plagiarism. But of course, I have preferences. Some people can recognize that, look, this is the way Kelechi likes to see. Sometimes it's difficult for me to put my hands on it. In terms of what genre of photography that I like, of course there are some that I like more than others. I love to shoot fashion. Fashion is for me very beautiful. It gives me the freedom to express myself, and at the same time affords me the opportunity to be commercial. These days I'm also enjoying a lot of architectural photography. Landscape, I know, because it gives me that moment to sort of reflect on life. You're out in the wilderness and you're there like Jesus Christ, you know, thinking about humanity. Because we had to drive from here to London through Africa, to North Africa, Spain, you know, France, and London, and it was an experience because it's about knowing the continent. It's about knowing your position physically on Earth. When you drive such long distances, then you can appreciate the geography of being a human being. Because when you move from one continent to the other, you know, by road, you get to appreciate not just flying from one capital to the other, it's driving from hinterland, you know, to capital to hinterland again. You get to appreciate the people. And it gave me a good understanding of what it meant to be Nigerian, what it meant to be African. Everything is a big challenge. It all depends on how you see it. Some people say the technical part of photography is a challenge, but then when you surpass it, it no longer exists. It becomes part of you. Some people say, oh, you know, shooting on location is a challenge, but then when you get used to it, it no longer is a challenge. So for me, I get these challenges every day. A lot of times it's things that you don't have a lot of personal control over. You don't have control over how knowledgeable your clients are going to be. You don't have control over those who want to steal your copyrights, you know, unless you want to fight them. You know, sometimes you don't have control over infrastructure, like NEPA, lights.
Yeah, but I mean...
No, for me, if there's no fun in it, then why do it? You see, the truth is that you cannot escape from work. You must work. And if you want to live a good life, and knowing that if you want to succeed, you have to work a lot, which means a good chunk of your life is going to be spent working, you better make it fun.
True.
Otherwise, you will have a bad life no matter how good the work you're doing. You're going to work anyway.
Yeah.
So if I'm working and it's boring, I bring a turntable and become a DJ, you know, start having fun. It's a party, man. You know? So for me, it's you just have to enjoy it. And it is the joy that you bring to it. It does reflect on the work also.
I see.
So, you know, you have to be playful.
Okay. What do you think?
I think it's beautiful. You cannot have enough of that positive energy. You see, people perish for lack of knowledge. They perish for lack of imagination. That is one of the major problems in Africa. We are too preoccupied with day-to-day living. And we lack imagination, the ability to project into the future something good in order to actualize it. You have to build castles in the air before you put a foundation on the ground. You understand? That is, so what you're doing is that you are bringing out these stories. You're bringing out success stories. You're bringing out positive energy. When you spread it around, it infects people and they stop becoming hopeless. Nigerians like to wallow in this senseless circle of pessimism, where they are constantly complaining about things. And they complain about CNN, they complain about Al Jazeera, they complain about Western media, they complain about radio, BBC, they complain about everything. They say, oh, they're not showing us in good light. Our problem was caused by the British, our government is corrupt, Boko Haram is killing us, Niger Delta boys are kidnapping, don't go to Lagos, don't go to East, don't go to North. They are paralyzed with pessimism. And when they keep doing that, it consumes them. And when it paralyzes you, when you are afraid, it paralyzes you. But when you see something, you see a vision of something good, you will create it. You see when they are building a house, they will have to draw it first. And these days they'll make it in 3D. Then they'll make a model. And when they show it to the client, they'll say, my God, this is the house I'm going to build on number so Marina. It's going to be a 150-story building, and it will be magnificent. When you say that, it comes to pass. I don't know if you understand.
I understand what you mean. If you see it, you can do it.
Yes. So what you're doing is you're showing people possibilities. And for me, that is strong. You give them something to imagine. When you provide a role model, you provide a path for people to walk. And once you do that, you've opened doors and you reduce hopelessness.
That's the dream.
Yeah. So keep on.
Thank you very much.
Good job.